You don't need to be perfect to get across your true heart, your true passions, to have real impact in the world. You just need to be who you are. Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a slightly different video. So oftentimes I talk to you about things that will help you get better at your finances and to work on your mindset and so on. And I share a lot of my wins with my wife and things that we're doing, our life adventures and things like that, which are all well and good. But the thing about life is that life is actually very, very difficult in many ways. I feel on a very personal level that I've had to navigate so many things in life. And oftentimes, people who are content creators don't really talk about the things that they've struggled with. So today I want to speak to you about the major life lessons that I've kind of learned through my journey so far. Things that I wish that I knew when I was in my 20s perhaps, or I would have done life perhaps in a slightly different way had I known these things. And things that I hope, as soon as I share them with you, will help you on your journey towards success, whatever you define success as. I just hope that these points will be able to take you to a much better place. My name's Ken of the Humble Penny and Financial Joy Academy. What we do on this channel is give you the tips, the insights, practical hacks to help you work towards a dream life of financial independence and money joy. Let's dive in. I just want to talk about them. I'm going to share real life examples, and this is going to be a somewhat emotional video actually, because I've just covered different aspects of my life's journey, and I want to share some major life lessons to help you move forward. Okay, so the first major life lesson is to stop trying to fit in, okay? I was having a chat with my wife the other day, and we were just having a chat, and I was saying to her that, do you know what? All through my teenage years, my 20s and my, early 30s and so on, I just did not have that thing where I was part of, say, call it a group of guys, and I was one of the guys or whatever. I always found myself a lot of the time trying to fit into somewhere and never quite fitting in anywhere per se. And so for many years of my own life, I just operated alone. I had, friends, but not, how, I don't know, girls might have a group of girlfriends or guys might have a group of guy friends. I never quite had that thing where I'd say, oh, I'm part of this crew of guys. But the thing I noticed in my life was that I was, in many senses, trying to fit in, and that did not serve me at all. And it took a lot of me doing things by myself for me to gradually accept myself and believe that what I had to offer really, really mattered. This leads me neatly onto the second point, which is to stop seeking validation from other people. This is one that I hope you can relate to. Do you often find yourself asking people if what you are doing is good enough, or if your ideas are good enough, or if you are actually good enough? You might find yourself seeking that validation from your partner, or from some friends, or from some relatives or family members. And as normal as that might sound, what this actually does over time is that you over time don't actually understand who you are and what your capabilities are and what your potential is. And I suffered from this myself. I didn't really have that thing where I could say, this is my idea and I'm backing my idea and that's it. I'm going to run with it. In my very early years, in my 20s, I struggled with this particular aspect of my life. And I know that it held me back in many ways. It's particularly in my early 20s where I was still trying to kind of rediscover myself. And a lot of that came, when I really reflect on it, came from a lack of kind of understanding my core identity, okay? Which brings me to the third point, which is to embrace your name. This point about embracing your name is actually one that most people don't even think too much about potentially. My full name is Kenneth Emeka Okorafor. That's my full name, okay? But it took me a while to embrace that name enough to be able to say it. I worried that people couldn't pronounce my surname, for example, that my surname was not maybe Cole, like Kenneth Cole or Kenneth Williams or, or whatever. But it took a while for me to be able to comfortably choose and say, well, actually, this is my name in this new world I live in this new country I live in. I'm embracing fully my name. It's of African descent. It's of Nigerian descent. It's of the Igbo tribe in Nigeria, and I fully embrace my identity. But doing that was magical for me, okay? Because this is tied entirely to you fully understanding what your identity is and where that identity comes from. Because that then helps you to really build yourself from the inside, understanding who you are, what you're made of, and understanding that you come from somewhere where you are deeply appreciated, no matter what challenges you face in your current environment. Okay, so embracing your name is something that I know a lot of people struggle with. In fact, I'd love to know if you're one of those people who currently struggles with, their name, whether it's your surname or whether it's your first name or whatever. Do you struggle with your name? And where exactly do you think that struggle with your name comes from? It'd be interesting to know. Let me know in the comments. Okay, the fourth life lesson I've got to share with you is to protect your name. Okay, so after embracing your name, you've then got to absolutely protect it with everything you've got. I remember in my teenage years, I got into various little bits of trouble. And when I reflect upon that, those bits of trouble didn't really turn out to be anything massive in terms of where things could have gone or how badly they could have gotten. But when I reflect upon that, and I reflect upon, say, some of my peers at the time who had gotten into little bits of trouble, and those bits of trouble then escalated into something else. When I look at our lives today, and I think to myself, wow, isn't it interesting that, gosh, had my life gone on and kind of gone off in a totally different direction, imagine where I could have ended up. And I look at a lot of those guys who had gotten into a lot of trouble, doing all kinds of things, but without protecting their names ultimately, they in effect are living lives today that isn't really up to the potential that they could have reached at, because perhaps they were trying to do things too quickly and seeking success very quickly and that sort of stuff. So I often think to myself, this idea of protecting your name is something that we don't hear talked about a lot. Another way to view it is what are you doing day to day to ensure that you are protecting your personal reputation, which is in effect a big part of essentially your identity, your brand, however you want to look at it. In addition to what I've said, I want to make a particular point around your name. So for a lot of people watching this, you might think that your name is insignificant, i.e. that you're not somebody who's known, you're not in the public eye, and all of that, and so your name, well, it's just okay, and why should you protect your name? The reality, and this is the thing I've learned over time, is that you have absolutely no idea who you're going to become in the future. And life, success and perception of success or whatever comes by very, very quickly over time, depending on how you choose to operate your life. And so that name that you've got that name. Yeah, obviously you can change your name, but if you don't go down that path, you've got that name for life. And that name carries with it a lot of power. So it really helps for my own journey so far to just ensure that you protect your name in every way, shape or form. Think about yourself as a key asset and do everything possible to protect your reputation, do everything possible to protect your integrity, because it's all those things that give people an idea of what you are truly made of. Okay, number 5 is you don't need to be perfect. I laugh at this one because I've got some personal stories that just, you might hear them and think, wow, I cannot believe this is one of the things you struggled with, Ken. So one of my biggest struggles, particularly in my teenage years and in my 20s, was just the fact that I have a lot of gap in my teeth. And you might think about that and think, well, Ken, I never quite noticed. So you might think, yeah, Ken, I've noticed the gap you have in your teeth, but hey, it's who you are, right? But but the thing is, it took me a while to accept that I was enough. Okay, that what I have to offer the world was enough. That in fact, I'll give you a real life example around this. It bothered me so much that I had gaps in my teeth that I went to, I think it's Harley Street, one of those fancy places in London where they have really expensive dentists and people, and said, hey, what can you do? Give me a give me a makeover. And I remember, I'll never forget the woman quoting me about £24,000 to do something that might look like something that I'd seen maybe in a magazine. And it just made me think, really, that, wow, you know, this is the extent to which I was looking to go to satisfy something that I considered was actually not enough, i.e. I kind of wanted it to be different. When in actual fact, other people loved, you know, what I had to offer. My wife, for example, absolutely loved it. She's like, that's, you know, you look fine to me. That's all that matters. And I also remember a friend of mine saying to me, Ken, you should smile more. Just smile more. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, you know, I've got those things that I was worried about, you know, that I thought were a problem, or I thought were not enough or not adequate in what I had to offer, perhaps physically, when in actual fact, other people kind of saw it as a gift. They saw it as, you know, a part of what made me unique in who I was. Okay, so accepting yourself is something I've had to learn to do all through my 20s, accepting what I had to offer. In fact, even doing these YouTube videos is a big win, because like for a long time I thought, well, why would I go in front of a camera on YouTube? Like, you know, I'm just not that YouTube type person. I'm not that individual. I haven't got all the things in place like to do a YouTube video. So anyway, just making this point that you don't need to be perfect to get across your true heart, your true passions, to have real impact in the world. You just need to be who you are. And it takes some embracing of who you are for you to accept that you have enough to offer. Next lesson is that words have power. Wow. This one, right? I can tell you now, I can remember, even now in my adulthood, terrible things that when I was in secondary school, there are people like, for example, when I moved to the UK and I was in year 11, which is where I started off, I still remember hurtful things that, you know, the other young students said to me as somebody who was, you know, who'd come from the outside as an immigrant. I still remember those hurtful things even today. And not that I want to remember them, but it's just that words have a lot of power. So you see, words can either build people and communities, or it can absolutely destroy them, okay? Which is why, for me, a big focus of everything in this channel is all about building you up. You know, I do absolutely everything to make sure that you understand that you are worth a lot more than you might even think that you're worth, that you're valued, and that you have huge potential and all those things. And I say them because I absolutely mean them. And I know that the words are necessary for building you up. Sorry. Just got a bit emotional thinking about that. I've even had people email me saying, Ken, like, I read something you said has helped to completely overhaul my entire life. And I think that's really powerful, that the words that I'm projecting, the words I'm putting out into the world, in some ways are helping many people move forward, even without me ever having to meet them face to face. So choose your words very wisely. You know, choose what you choose to say. In many instances, if you can, don't say anything. Especially in the world of social media, if you can, just be silent. If you don't have anything value adding, anything that will build people up to say, just don't say anything. And when you do have something to say, make sure it's positive, because words have power. Next is make learning a lifestyle. So I remember really early on in my life, I actually didn't really like learning. Like, I actually hated learning. Mainly because I was learning to pass exams and things. And then later on, I started to figure out how to pass exams, and then started to pass exams on autopilot. But the thing is, I still didn't quite embrace learning, okay? But what I've noticed in my late 20s and early 30s was that I started to embrace learning for a different reason altogether. I understood that the path to wisdom began with knowledge. You first understand and acquire knowledge, then if you really seek it, you can get understanding. And so for me, when I say make learning a lifestyle, What I'm talking about is seek understanding when you think about learning. Don't just go, I'm trying to acquire knowledge. Try to go beyond that and seek understanding, because that there is where you are actually making your learning real. It's not like you're just acquiring knowledge and knowledge and knowledge and knowledge. You're actually putting those ideas into practice, and those ideas you're then seeking and looking at the results you're getting from applying your knowledge, and through that application, you acquire understanding. Number 8 is to embrace couple power, okay? Right, so here I'm speaking to anyone who's in a relationship, anyone who's trying to be in a relationship, or who plans to be in a relationship. What I'm saying to you here is that there is huge power in coming together 100% with your partner. Yeah, I can think of so many examples, even in my own personal life, you know, where, and I'm looking at, say, my parents or you know, even my relatives or other friends, where I've seen examples where, you know, I could say that, gosh, they've achieved a lot because they came together, or they could have achieved so much more if they had come together even more so, okay? So my point here is simple. Two people together, like properly together, are way better than one person or two individuals running individual races. Okay, so if you've got a husband, a wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, anyone you're in a long-term relationship with, embrace that fully, especially when it comes to the subject of money, because money divides and money leads to all kinds of, you know, undesirable outcomes if we don't manage it properly, especially in a relationship setting. Almost see your relationship with your partner as the vehicle you need to take you both to that next best place that you're trying to get to, okay? Embrace couple power. I know for certain with my wife, Mary, that there is absolutely no way that if I kind of looked at my life now, would be where I am today without fully embracing and going on the journey together as a couple with a joint vision, knowing what we are trying to achieve as a couple, as a family, and in our lives as well, okay? So embrace couple power, because couple power will most certainly take you places if you do it for the right reason. I should mention, by the way, a big part of embracing couple power is not just thinking about yourself, but thinking about the other person and what their needs are in your union. Okay, so this next one's very personal, but I'm going to share it anyway, okay? Because hopefully it might mean something to someone out there. And here it is. Prayer is oxygen, okay? That's it. Prayer is oxygen, prayer is therapy, prayer is, for me, everything, okay? I can think of countless numbers of instances in my life where I've just faced challenges, I'm battling various things, I'm juggling various things, I'm struggling, I'm looking for a way out, and I can't find a way out. But when I commit things to prayer, I suddenly feel this huge peace come over me, okay? I can think about my corporate career so many times when I just think, I just go into the toilet, for example. I can think of specific workplaces, go into the bathroom, close the door, when, you know, you just have one of those days where things are so bad, you want to lock yourself away and you literally just want to cry. I've had those, many of those in my corporate career. And the one thing that I always went to, that always gave me peace in those times was prayer. And I still today, even today. So I make the habit of making prayer a priority in my life. I don't know what, you know, you think about that. You know, are you a praying person? You know, do you consider prayer to be a big part of your life? I'd love to know, you know, let me know in the comments. In fact, I'd be very intrigued to know whether people pray, you know, whether people see prayer as a thing. And obviously, if you are praying, then it's an indication that you believe that there is a higher power. So I'd love to know, you know, please let me know in the comments what your thoughts are around that. But for me, the life lesson is to prioritize prayer and to see it as a weapon in helping me to fight my personal battles. Okay, next one is to play more, okay? I'm putting this out there because adulthood can be very boring. Getting into adult life has been quite a big surprise for me, because a lot of what adult life is about, which you know about hopefully, is all about routines and doing work and family life and all these things. And before you know it, life just becomes quite boring in many ways. And we start to forget the need to play, the need to do various things. I've found actually that making play a priority in my life has helped me become more of a creative person. And creativity is a big part of what you need in generating new ideas, in generating more income, in all round just having a life of adventure. Okay, so prioritize play in your life, and honestly I can tell you it will be a game changer. If you made it a big priority in your life, you'll find that life is just a lot more fun. And that's it. Okay, so the next point is that you are not your career. This is a really important point, specifically for a lot of you who are currently on your career journey, or you're maybe starting your career journey, you're thinking about this career and it's this big central part of your life. What I've learned as somebody who has built a career in finance, worked in executive finance as a chief financial officer, kind of worked my way up over the last 12 to 13 years, is that, this career thing is fantastic, but it's not who you are ultimately. What I've found is that the more you view yourself as somebody who possesses various key skills and talents, the more you are able to stack those various skills and talents and create opportunities for yourself. And those opportunities could differ to what you originally set out to be your main career. Okay, so I'd originally set off for my career to be in finance, in financial services, but today I'm doing something completely different. And in my kind of mid-30s, I never ever thought that I'd be doing something totally different to what I'd set out to do, say a decade ago, for example. So my point here is you're not your career. Allow yourself some flexibility as you get to understand yourself more on this journey. You find yourself seeking out new opportunities that might lead you in a totally different way as you become more confident in who you are and what your life priorities are. Okay, so the final point I wanted to make on life lessons is that you can create the life that you see. Okay, this point is specifically around life design. It's very normal for us to operate our lives on autopilot. We do what everybody else does. And for that reason, we end up with the same results that everybody else ends up with. But my point here is that you have to really decide what type of life you ideally want. And that decision is really solely up to you. Only you can decide what comes ahead of you, okay? You can have some role to play in that. And the money that you generate in your life today plays a critical role in helping you create that life that you desire in the future. Okay, this is one thing I wish I knew a lot earlier, that I had the power in helping me create the life that I wanted. And I hope that by watching the videos on this channel, you are more empowered as you work towards and build that life that you desire, one that truly works for you and one that aligns more and more with who you ultimately are. Guys, thank you so much. I really hope you've enjoyed this video on the major life lessons that have helped me, on my way towards various levels of life challenges and success. I hope these points have helped you in maybe kind of better understanding yourself and maybe understanding what your values are, perhaps, what your priorities are. Or maybe these points have even left you with questions about your own current life, okay? The key thing to realize is that life is an adventure. We have blessings and burdens happening all at the same time through life. And it's important for us to enjoy life, play the game that life presents us, make the most of time that we've been blessed to have, and above all things, have fun and do everything we can to have impact with the various talents and gifts that we've been presented with in our lives. Thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps encourage a ton more people to watch our videos. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe, as well as hit that notifications bell so you get notified when we publish our videos twice a week, typically on a Tuesday as well as a Thursday. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again on our next video. Take care and bye for now.